To let everyone know, we are live streaming this as well, and we are recording it. So, okay. Welcome to this celebration of our community response to COVID. I want to thank everybody for coming. I want to thank everybody online. This is an important time. We're not out of COVID yet, but we can see some daylight. And this is a chance for us to say thank you to our community, to our volunteers, to those folks that really helped us through. I'm Dave Wyndham. I am the Director of Mason County Community Services. I've been working on the public health end of this thing for 2 solid years. And I was a planning chief for area command. Extra duties as assigned, like day 2 of the response. So very heavily involved, and I look across the room and I see all these great people that I've worked with for the last couple of years. One of the nice things about Mason County is how the county came together. Right off the bat, we stood up Area Command, which for those of you who aren't familiar, it's an emergency response method of dealing with large emergencies. It's really designed around fire and emergencies like that. We applied it to COVID, and it allowed us to bring great partners together, like the sheriff's office, the fire departments, MACECOM, the hospitals, clinics, volunteers. All these groups came together and have been working together now for 2 years in a way that many counties did not do, and I think we're not nearly as successful as Mason County. I think we had a lot of success. We built these relationships that are continue to work as time goes by. So we now know each other, and we trust each other and have ways of communicating that we didn't have before. So in some ways, COVID really brought the community together in a new way. And I certainly appreciate the work that everyone has done. I'm going to share just one little anecdote. I was, for my part, in doing the mass vaccination clinics. We had great teams that were doing the registration, and we had teams that were doing crowd control coming in, and we had nurses who were doing the vaccinations in the nurse tent. At one point, we were doing 6 cars every 6 minutes. So we were really cranking folks through. I was outstanding in the parking lot, and I was parking cars. That was my job. Come up, stop. I had somebody who hit the gas instead of hitting the brakes. Actually, it happened twice. And my cell phone bears witness to me going over the hood and landing on the ground. She's like, I hit the gas. Yes, ma'am, you did. Yeah, but it all worked out okay. We did, I think our biggest day was over 1,200 people in a day coming through our mobile vaccine clinic. Belfair, you guys did a great job, a little different method. They had walk-in clinics. We had drive-through clinics. They had sunshine. We had rain. And I think there was one day when our crew was out there in the rain, 1.5 inches of rain while we were out there working. So I really want to say thank you to everyone who helped out, for those, especially for those mass vaccination clinics. I mean, what great response we had. And moving forward, I am going to introduce our commissioners, starting with Commissioner Schutte. We're going to do have some remarks and hand out a couple of awards. So, Commissioner Schutte.
Good evening, everybody. It's great to see so many of you here this evening. As Dave said, my name is Kevin Schutte, County Commissioner here at Mason County, and it's been an incredible 2 years. 2 years plus, and the only reason we're able to be on this side of things is because of the tremendous community partnerships that were formed and grown over these past 2 years, and we're just truly grateful. And I think one of the most exciting parts of my job as a county commissioner is when I get to say thank you, and I get to say thank you first and foremost to our public health staff at Mason County. And so we have a small but mighty group of people in our public health department, and probably most of you didn't know about them prior to March of 2020, and now they are truly part of that group of heroes that helped get us through to where we are today. And so just want to invite Lydia Buhait up to receive a plaque just in appreciation for all the work that our public health team did over the past 2+ years. If you I know that we have some of our public health staff kind of scattered in the audience. If you could just please stand up and let the crowd recognize you. You want to say a couple of words?
So I want to say thank you to our public health staff that worked so long and so hard on this pandemic. We literally sometimes didn't know if we were coming or going. But it was a great team effort. We had our environmental health staff working as well as our community family health staff and all of our administrative staff, and everybody just worked very hard. And we're glad it's sort of over. Thanks. Appreciate it.
I was trying to leave before my job was done. And so next up, we're going to have Commissioner Randy Netherland join us to present the next recognition. Thanks for having me.
First, I want to say, look at those faces. Oh my gosh, I miss y'all. It's wonderful to see you every day, but it's so much nicer to see the smile behind all those masks. God bless you, each and every one of you. You know, as the commissioner had said, we've seen some fantastic things happen over the last few years. Yes, it was tough. Yes, it was definitely off-putting, but at the same time, it was wonderful. I saw people doing things that you never would have imagined. They were standing up out there, as was mentioned, out in the rain, and it was cold out there. It was running around with coffee trying to get them. These people were soaked to the bone, and they were still there trying to move everybody through. I also seen them out there in the sun, dying in the heat. It went both ways. There was no end to it. One of the organizations, and the one I've been asked to thank today, before I start, is Peninsula Community Health Services represented today. Is there anybody here? Okay. I didn't think they were. So I'm going to be receiving the award for them. Peninsula Community Health Services is an organization that has stepped up in the North Mesa community in a way that all I can say is when you sit down, you pray that somebody will stand. That was the group that did. They showed up at North Mesa and they provided services to a community up there in the droves, and they found ways to make things work. Up in North Mesa, it can be very hard to communicate. You have elderly people that are at the end of dirt roads, and trying to get them in to get shot is really hard when they had to schedule, and they didn't even know how to use the computers and how to schedule. But Peninsula Community Health gave many opportunities to the point where we were shipping people in by the busloads, elderly and people who were sick, and they always found a way to take them in to take care of them. I tell you, I was sure proud of them with the help of the North Mesa School District and everything they were able to do. My community in North Mesa was not only well taken care of, they were blessed enough to get well serviced. And we had people, anybody who wanted the vaccine, they got it. And a lot of them got it early. But that, in most part, has to do with all those people that stood up. All those people that stood out there in the sunshine, because we had 1 day of rain the whole time. We got lucky. But they stood out there in that heat, and those people that moved them through for the school districts and Joni back with North Mason, incredible. So on behalf of Mason County, I sure want to say thank you to Peninsula Community Health. I will get them their plaque later, and I want to wish them good blessings to all their staff, because they sure were a blessing to us. So. Next up, I have the honor of introducing another commissioner who spent the earliest days on our main emergency response squad, our area command. She was there from the very beginning. She actually had the misfortune to be chair from the moment all this happened. Imagine being the chair of a county commission when all this was coming about, but she stood up and she was really counted. She did a great job. And so please allow me to introduce you to Commissioner Trask.
I feel short. Looking out there and just looking at the faces of everyone that stepped up and did so well during this adventure. Man. And yeah, I was lucky enough to be the chair, and I was lucky to be able to work with everyone right here. People here in Mason County, we rock, right? We really do. And so I get the honor of Mason County. Do we have representatives for Mason County? Well, we get to hug. That's so cool. So I can present this to you. You guys were rock stars. You opened up a clinic. You did the drive-through screenings. You guys were amazing, and I can't say how much. Can't say more how much we appreciate you guys, and all the people that were able to help and get service from you. You guys were awesome. I'm not going to take up a lot of time because everybody in this room deserves so much recognition. But thank you.
Thank you. Just quick, so I think echo everything that's said, and I think if anything comes out of this, is all the relationships that have always been strong in this community, I think are even stronger. So really awesome. And quite frankly, I'll just talk more about the future. I'm really incredibly optimistic about the future of Mason County. So there's a lot to look forward to, and I'm really excited about that. So yeah, thank you.
I guess now I get to turn it back over to Dave. But take a look at all those names on the back of that sheet. Everybody, rock stars.
So thank you, commissioners. And Eric, definitely this was about relationships. We learned that early on. And I want to say thanks to Area Command, who sat through my slideshows 3 times a week for 2 years, learning all about the ins and outs of case counts and all that fun stuff.
Started off with 6 days.
Yeah, it was 6 days a week at the very beginning and went to 3 days a week. And we're still meeting every week, and I'm still doing the slideshows.
Yes.
So, yeah. So one of the keys to Area Command functioning smoothly is, well, let me start. Area Command, stand up. Come on, guys, stand up. The guys, everybody that was involved in Area Command, stand up. All right. Great leadership is key to this. So early on, we decided this is going to go a long time. It's not like a fire where you might have 2 weeks of area command and you stand down. So we had area commanders, so our command folks. We had Ryan Sperling and we had Ross McDowell. Now Ross has moved on to Lewis County, but they changed every 2 weeks, so we wouldn't wear them out. And it became very valuable as this thing went on and on and on. So I want to introduce our speaker today, and that's Ryan Sperling, who was commander for Area Command.
First of all, it was an honor to serve with such a great team. And thank you, Sheriff, for allowing me as a chief in the sheriff's office to be pulled away from my duties, and so many of you that allowed the people that were involved in area command to be pulled away from their daily duties to be involved in this undertaking. When I was asked to talk about this, I was kind of wrestling with it. How do you even express the teamwork, the unity that our small community displayed through this? Because in crisis, people stand up. They do some amazing things. And I thought back to not only our chaplain, who always told us great stories to keep us encouraged, but I thought back to somebody that many of you may know if you're from Shelton, Coach Rich Untersayer. And some of the things that he would teach us, I got a chance to coach with him and teach the kids to get messages across from a different location. So after wrestling with it, I'm going to go off on a tangent to kind of describe what it was like to be part of Area Command for 2 years. How many are familiar with the sequoia trees, the redwoods? Okay, you know that they are the largest tree in the world. Some of them are up to 3,000 years old. Some of them are up to 311 feet tall. The diameter of the largest one measured was 56 feet around, 56 in diameter. That is a massive tree. They survive earthquakes, especially down in California. They have extra tannin in their bark and resist fire. They survive floods because of the way that they're designed. They survive huge amounts of wind. So you would think the largest tree in the world, the largest living tree, would have some pretty deep roots. Do you know that sequoias have no taproot like our fir trees do? Their roots, tons and tons of tree, the roots average 10 feet deep. How can the largest tree in the world withstand the winds and all of the storms that hit the California coast? Well, it's very unique. Their roots interlock with other trees. The trees grow very close together, and they actually share nutrients through their roots. And I couldn't think of a better picture of how Mason County stood during a tremendous storm, except by interlocking our roots, reaching out to community partners. There's people all through this room who just stepped up, who worked their tails off to make sure that our county had the resources they needed to move forward. And it was truly inspiring. And I hope that those relationships continue, because we are truly locked together after that kind of experience. And so many people stepped up. Thank you very much. Let's give everybody a hand.
So one of our mission statements early on was build unity in the community. And it was on our dry erase board from day one, is to build that unity, and we see it here tonight. And thank you, Ryan, very much for bringing that up. Now we're going to have a little slideshow with some of the things we've seen this last year. You'll see a lot of stuff from the vaccine clinics, because we did a lot of that work. Other work that happened that was not seen were the countless hours that my team were on the phone talking to people who were infected, people who had questions, people who were sick, people who were going to the hospital, people coming home from the hospital, people who didn't have food. Our team worked on all those things. There's not a lot of pictures. It's not a very photogenic sort of thing, but this is some of the highlights. Great memories there. I mean, some of my best memories for the last couple of years are at those clinics with the nurses underneath the tent, dancing and singing and having a great time while dealing with the elements. It's all about our relationships, and one of the relationships that were created this year. I think back to our chaplain. And it's been a tough year. And as tough as things got, we had the chaplain there to remind us that things could be tougher. He's been an inspiration to us. He's brought words of wisdom. He's helped us through this past couple of years. And we really do appreciate him. And I would like to invite our chaplain up to speak to us for just a little bit.
Thank you, Dave. It was a little over 2 years ago that I received a phone call from Chief Ryan Sperling, who asked me, some in area command had asked if the chaplain could give a word of encouragement. He asked me if I could maybe put something together for a couple of minutes. He didn't know, neither did the sheriff or anybody else, that they had a ringer, because I had actually done this on American Forces Network Radio for 4 years, courtesy of the American public in Germany. And I used to tell people it's not hard. I'm an Irishman and a Baptist. Talking is not a problem. I would, however, remind us, and I had an experience yesterday in my role as chaplain that is one of those moving and yet really tough experiences, as I had to sit down with a family who had just lost a loved one. I love doing my job, and I am so appreciative to the area command and the people I've met who allowed me to do that on a weekly basis. But that's the hard part. And as I left that family, I was reminded, as we come to the end of this time, that even today there are families who are waking up to an empty seat at a table, an empty pillow in the morning and the evening, an empty place and holidays. And so I'm going to ask you if you would do two things with me. First, pause in a time of unspoken and silent remembrance. Perhaps you can think of a person. Perhaps you know of a family. I would simply ask you to bow with me for a moment and keep them in your mind. And then I would ask you, as each of us come in our own way, and join me as we ask blessing, hope, peace, and guidance on those who are left behind after this. Will you please join me now in a moment of silence? Heavenly Father, I come to you now asking that you hear our prayers, our thoughts, for those who are now left alone, as they think and live without their loved ones. Encourage them, lift them up, surround them with your love, your grace, and pour forth your peace that passes all understanding, and encourage them even now as days go by, reminding them that their loved one was never forgotten, was never left alone, and you were there even at that last time. Father, I thank you that we can come in prayer at this time. I ask your grace and blessing upon those who have served and those who remain. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain Joel Harris. We really appreciate that. Appreciate you hanging out with us at Area Command for the past couple of years. A lot of us get paid to do this work. So whether it's other duties as assigned or those of us in public health, this is kind of our Super Bowl. This is what we've trained for years and years. We've had plans for. But we could not pull this off without those people who showed up because they cared. They're not paid. There are volunteers, and our volunteers are really what made this whole thing kick off, especially on those vaccine clinics standing out there in the cold and in the rain and the wind, and not in the tent. You know, for most of them, they're out in the parking lots and working with people in the parking lots. So if you were a volunteer who was not paid and you were out there, please stand up. Thank you very, very much. So many times we'd be out there getting set up and the volunteers would show up and they get their best and they were so eager to work, so eager to do things. It made my life and the team's life so much easier because we could hand things off and they just got done. It was like magic. And then when we went to clean up, within minutes we were done and ready to go. And it was, our volunteers were just absolutely amazing, whether it was South County or North County, absolutely amazing people. Mason County really rocks. One of the things we decided early on was nobody's coming to our rescue. Mason County will do it ourselves. And we did. We did a great job. I think as a community, we all deserve a big hand. That kind of wraps up the program. We're a little bit early, and that's great. We have time for people just to mingle. If you're a business, if you see yourself listed in here, we have plaques for you in the back. Volunteers, and there are, if you look at the back of this thing, look at this list of volunteers. I'm not reading all those names. Okay, we'll be here a long time. And it's small print, I'd have to, anyway. So please mingle. We have pins, we have plaques, we have cupcakes. What could be better? So I do want to thank everybody for coming and making this celebration a very big success. Thank you.